It's worthless, it's no good, it's crazy. It'll do nothing but harm, or it's anti-social to allow it. Guy who made the correct decision on this is the Chinese leader. Charlie Munger is one of the most successful investors in the world. He is the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway alongside Warren Buffett, and together have created one of the most successful investment track records in history. And recently, he spoke at an annual shareholder meeting at the Daily Journal to share his thoughts on the economy and give us some advice on investing in today's economic environment. So, what do you do now that the interest rate environment is changing? Well, there's no question about the fact that as interest rates have gone up, it's hostile to stock prices. But they should go up. I mean, we couldn't have kept them forever at zero. And I just think this is one more damn thing to adapt to in investment life, is that there are headwinds and there are tailwinds, and one of the headwinds is inflation. And I think more inflation over the next 100 years is inevitable with politics and a democracy. All politicians in a democracy tend to be in favor of printing the money and spending it. And that will cause some inflation over time. It may avoid a few recessions too. It may not be all bad, but it will do more harm than good, I think, from this point forward. In the last 10 years before COVID, interest rates were near zero, which created a strong upswing in the stock market and the overall economy. But as Charlie said, those times can't last forever. Interest rates are higher now, and they are unlikely to come back down anytime soon. And inflation will always continue to be part of our economic life. But when it comes to policy and macroeconomics, notice that Charlie doesn't have a strong opinion on the matter. He says that increasing interest rates and inflation is just something we have to adapt to, especially since the consequences of new economic policies are unpredictable. While everyone is worried about these new economic policies and what the interest rates will do to the markets, Charlie prefers not to make predictions based on these policies, but instead chooses to continue investing for the long term. And the economic environment will either be a tailwind and help his growth, or a headwind and create slower growth. Making short-term predictions is not something that Charlie participates in. I don't regard myself. I think I'm pretty good at long-run expectations, but I don't think I'm good at short-term wobbles. I don't have the faintest idea as what's going to happen short-term. In almost every interview, Charlie is the first one to say that he has no idea what's going to happen in the short term. The way he makes his money is by finding strong companies with good economics and strong moats that protects them from unexpected events, and hold those companies for a very long time. He does say that he has a much better sense of his expectations for the long term, not what will happen over the next year, but what is likely to happen over the next decade or two. And to Charlie, this trait is one of the most important predictors of success. We're looking for opportunities to defer. Other people are looking for ways to enjoy. It's a different way of going at life. Did you start out having to work at delayed gratification, or is that just how you were born? No, I learned this trick early. And I'd done that experiment with the 2 marshmallows with little kids. Yeah, with your weight. Yeah, and they've done. Watch them how they work out in life by now. The little kids who are good at deferring the marshmallows are also the people that succeed in life. It's kind of sad that so much is inborn, so to speak. But you can learn it to some extent too, so I'm going to test that out on my kids. I was very lucky. I just naturally took to deferred gratification very early in life, and of course it's helped me ever since. This trait becomes especially important in a recession, because in recessions, most investors are not making money, but they provide an ideal opportunity to invest and develop long-term gains by delaying gratification and taking advantage of these opportunities. Now, delaying gratification sounds simple on paper, but it can be difficult, especially in a recession. Being rational when investing is one of the most important traits for long-term success. Charlie, I spoke with a friend of yours yesterday, and his question that he had for you is, what quality has helped you the most in life? Well, that's easy. Rationality. If you're just not crazy, you have a big advantage over 95% of the people. Because most people have all kinds of crazy patches. And if you just are consistently not crazy, you get a big advantage in life. Then you're patient and gratification deferrer in addition to being not crazy. That's practically a saint. And if you're exceptionally good at satisfying your commitments to other people, you just automatically improved your resources and your chances in life enormously. And it's so simple. It can be difficult to be rational and stick to tried and true investing principles when we are losing money in a recession. There will always be people who get lucky and make some money on the latest stock trend or the hottest cryptocurrency, and seeing that can make us act irrationally and begin participating in loosely thought out investments. This is one of the reasons why Charlie says to be rational and make educated decisions by understanding what makes a good investment and keeping an eye on them, because even good assets will eventually die. In this next clip, he gives us a bit of a wake-up call to the dark truth of capitalism. The business world is very much like the physical world, where all the animals die in the course of improving all the species, so they can live in niches and so forth. All the animals die and eventually all the species die. That's the system. And when I was young, I didn't realize that same system applied to what happens if capitalism to all the businesses. They're all on their way to dying as they answer, so that other things can replace them and live. And it causes some remarkable deaths. Imagine having Kodak die. It was one of the great trademarks of the world. There was nobody that didn't use film. They dominated film. They knew more about the chemistry of film than anybody else on earth. And of course, the whole damn business went to zero. And look at Xerox has once shown the world. It's just a pale for shrinkage. It's a nothing compared to what it once was. So practically everything dies. If big enough time scale. When I was young enough, that was just as obvious then. I didn't see it for a while. Things that looked eternal and had been around for a long time, I thought wouldn't likely be that way when I was old. But a lot of them have disappeared. Practically everything dies in business. Once I understood that better, I think it made me a better investor, I think. As a value investor, you must take a hard look at the companies you invest in to make sure that they are still healthy and have the potential to continue growing. As Charlie said, the business world is like nature. One must die to make way for the next, better one. Like you said, no one would think that Xerox or IBM would ever go down, since they were leaders in their industry. But eventually, they made way to newer, better, and more efficient companies. And this happens over and over again. Netflix took over Blockbuster, Uber took over the taxi industry, and Amazon disrupted the retail industry. And according to Charlie, all of these great companies will eventually do the same. But great businesses tend to last much longer. When you're evaluating a company for potential investment, what do you place the most emphasis on, the business or the management? And do you differ with Warren when it comes to what you place first? No, I think it was the same. I think we like the business great first. And then second, we want a great manager. But we have not made a huge success by investing on great managers who take over lousy businesses. That is not the way we rose. If you're a lousy manager, you really need a great business. And can a great business be run by a lousy manager? The inverse? Sometimes Coca-Cola was run for years by a man with a very severe mental impairment. And the directors just assumed he was drunk and let him stay there year after year. Now that's my idea of a wonderful business that you can be mentally defective and run it pretty well. That was Coca-Cola in its heyday. Fundamentally, the company you invest in has to be a good business with great economics, good cash flow, with low debt that doesn't rely on outside funding to survive. These fundamentals become even more important during a recession because when a recession hits, those who lack these fundamentals might not survive it. This is one of the reasons why Charlie is not a very big fan of cryptocurrencies. And here is what he has to say about it. Sometimes I call it crypto crabble and sometimes I call it, well, crypto shit. And it's just ridiculous that anybody would buy this stuff. You can think of hardly nothing on earth that has done more good to the human race than currency, national currencies. They were absolutely required to turn man from a goddamn successful ape. It had modern successful humans and human civilization. This has enabled all these convenient exchanges. So if somebody says, I'm going to create something and sort of replaces the national currency, it's like saying, I'm going to replace the national air. You know, it's asinine. It is slightly stupid. It's massively stupid. And of course it's very dangerous, and of course the governments were totally wrong to permit it. It's worthless, it's no good, it's crazy, it'll do nothing but harm, or it's antisocial to allow it. And the guy who made the correct decision on this is the Chinese leader. The Chinese leader took one look at crypto shit and he says, not in my China. And boom, well, there isn't any crypto shit in China. He's right and we're wrong. Man, there is no good argument on the other side. I can't support it. It's just unspeakable. It's an absolute horror, and that I'm ashamed of my country that so many people believe in this kind of crap, and that the government allows it to exist. It is totally, absolutely crazy, stupid gambling with enormous house odds for the people on the other side. And they cheat in addition to cheating and the betting. And it's just crazy. And there you have it. These are Charlie's thoughts on investing the current economy, and his advice for both. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with Charlie, or do you have different thoughts? And if you want to see Ray Dalio's thoughts on the current economy and where we are in the short and long-term economic cycles, click on this video right here.